Hey, it's Taylor, and in this video, I'm going to be showing you how I shipped my very first manufacturer order from China to Amazon. Let's get into it. If you're new to the channel, I'm Taylor, the Ecom RN. I started selling on Amazon in 2023. I went on to do over $100,000 in profit in my first 12 months. Currently do about $35,000 a month selling on Amazon, and I want to show you how to do the same. Now, if you saw my last video, you'll know that there's a lot that's involved in creating an international freight shipment and having it sent to an Amazon fulfillment center. So in this video, I thought a bit about it and I wanted to go over what I did when I first started selling my very first shipment into Amazon, because I think it's the simplest and easiest way to do it. And it's the least risky so that you don't make any mistakes with this first shipment, get inventory lost, or get slapped with any additional fees by Amazon that can really hurt you in this critical phase of launching your first product. So again, this might not be what you hear other gurus saying who are more focused on ultimate efficiency and cost effectiveness. There are more efficient and cost-effective ways to ship to Amazon than what I'm about to tell you in this video, but they require a bit more complicated process involving freight forwarders, importer of record, or who's going to clear the customs, and other things that just frankly add so much complexity to this first shipment that I really don't think it's necessary, especially when you're just starting. But don't worry, my upcoming videos will detail how to perform these more complicated shipments and send directly to Amazon from overseas. But for now, let's hop into my Amazon account and I'll show you exactly what I mean. Okay, so just to quickly review, if you saw the last video, you know there are multiple variables involved in freight forwarding and supply side logistics. But here's what I did for my very first shipment ever. So I actually did a DDP shipment. So my terms with the supplier were DDP, delivered duties paid, and I actually had them shipped directly to my address in the United States. Yeah, this is where I might catch some flack from other other Amazon content creators and gurus and the like. But I will explain why I chose this for my first shipment and why I would recommend, if you're in a similar situation, that you would do this as well. And then what happened after it arrived to me was then I turned around and sent it in to an Amazon fulfillment center. Okay, and why did I choose to do this? Well, there are a couple considerations. First is that I live in California, and there are a bunch of ramifications of this. First and foremost, if you're in California or on the West Coast, this is where ocean freight will arrive from China. Okay, it's the closest place for it to arrive is to our West Coast here. And so if you live on the West Coast, this strategy is particularly effective because when you go to ship from your address into Amazon, you can select a California-based address, and this will send your products to the closest fulfillment centers on the West Coast. So that's helpful. Another consideration was that I live close to a UPS store. Actually, if you watched my previous videos, my business address is actually at a UPS store. So I have a UPS store mailbox, and that is my business address, and it's close to my house. So this helps because UPS is the partnered carrier for Amazon. So being able to quickly and easily take the product from my house to the UPS store was very easy, very simple. It's just around the corner. And this is helpful because you get significant shipping discounts when you use Amazon's partnered carrier, which is UPS. All right, so besides those considerations, the main benefits to this approach are that it's much more simple and easy to accomplish, and you'll have more control over the process. However, there are some downsides, which is there will be a little bit more of a time delay because you are going to receive the product and then turn around and ship it again to Amazon versus having it shipped directly to Amazon. And then I listed it as a benefit, but it also could be considered a downside, which is that it's more hands-on. So you are actually going to have to do some work to get this done. But in my opinion, when you're first starting, you have more time than you have money. And so I think this is still a good trade-off. All right, so how do you actually do this? Well, the first part is the simplest part. When you're working with your manufacturer, you're just going to tell them that you want delivered duties paid terms, DDP terms, shipped to your address, and you're just going to give them your address, and they will take care of making sure the product makes it from their warehouse all the way to you. You won't have to do anything. They will send you a tracking number so you can keep tabs on the shipment, and it will arrive to you. All right, so you don't have to worry about customs clearance. You don't have to worry about dealing with a freight forwarder. You don't have to worry about any of that. It's just going to be sent straight to you. It's very simple, and this makes it much less likely that there are any issues or any complications along the way. So the shipment has arrived to you, and now you are going to send it to an Amazon fulfillment center. So the way you do this is come to your Manage All Inventory page, and you're going to click on these three little dots. Then you're going to click on Send or Replenish Inventory. Okay, once you've done that, you'll be redirected to this page here, and you are going to put in your address here, this ship from address. You're going to put in your address so that Amazon knows where the package is coming from. Again, you will hear many people online tell you to put a California-based address in here, even if it's not coming from California. This is technically against Amazon's terms. So I caution you about that. This is why my approach was so easy for me, because I live in California, that putting my address here as the ship from address was honest and truthful and had the benefits of being a California address, meaning that there are lots of fulfillment centers near the West Coast because it's a major port, and my products were shipped into Amazon quickly and cost effectively for that reason. So I've selected my shipped from address. You can see here it's a California address, and your marketplace destination is going to be United States. Okay, so now you're looking at your product here, and you're going to have this field to fill out. Because I've already shipped this product into Amazon before, I have a saved packing template here. But since this is your first time, you're not going to have that. So what you're going to need to do is create a new packing template. You should name this whatever you want. I'd like to name it something that identifies the product and that identifies how many units are in the product. Okay, so I've just named this one My Awesome Product, and I've put 100 because that's how many units are packed in this case pack. That's the next thing here. Template type is you're going to want to select a case pack. You're probably not going to want to select a single SKU pallet for your first shipment. If you've been following along, your first shipment is probably going to be between 500 and 1,000 units. And unless it's a huge item, which again, if you've been following along, is not something that I normally recommend for beginners, your product will not need to be palletized. It will not be on a pallet. It will be a case pack. That is, it will be a carton or a box with a bunch of individual units inside that box. So say you sell a fidget spinner. Each and every fidget spinner that you've made in China should have been labeled with the FN SKU. And then you'll tell them to put 100 of those fidget spinners labeled and ready for the customer into a carton. That carton is what's referred to here as a case pack. So in the units per box, you're going to put 100 or however many units there are, and then you're going to put your box dimensions. Okay, a couple things I want to point out. With these case packs, you can't have more than 150 units in any single box. And then each box cannot be longer than 25 inches on any side. Your box can also not weigh more than 50 pounds. Okay, so when you are going over this shipment with your manufacturer, you want to keep those things in mind. So let's say you got 500 units for your first order. I recommend that you split it up into 5 cartons so that you have 100 units per carton, as long as those cartons do not exceed those parameters. All right, next thing you're going to want to check is this prep category. Because you've manufactured your product to have the FN SKU already applied to it, Amazon does not need to do any prep. So that's what you can select here is no prep needed. Again, in this section here, who labels the units? Well, you've already labeled them, so you're going to put by seller. I do not recommend that you have Amazon label your units. Not only does it cost 55 cents per unit, but you're also sending in basically mystery items into Amazon. They're going to be items with no barcode on them. How are you going to verify how many were actually delivered? Let's say you send in 500, but Amazon says they only received 400. How are you going to prove that? There were no labels attached, so it's very difficult. So I do recommend that you follow the steps in the previous videos so that your manufacturer is adding the FN SKU barcode to each unit. That way you can just select by seller. Okay, then you're going to click save. And now you see that in the packing details, you have that template entered in. Amazon is going to automatically know that there were 100 because that's what you put in the template. And so now you're going to put in how many boxes. And so for this example, since we said we made 500 units, we'll say that there are 5 boxes. Next, we'll click ready to send. You'll notice here that the total prep and labeling fees are 0. That's what we want because we have done all the prep and we've done all the labeling beforehand. Amazon doesn't have to do anything, and so we won't be charged. So then you go to confirm and continue. In this field here, this is the shipping date. So whenever you plan to take the product to the UPS store, you're going to put that date in here. Now here you see you have the option to send either to Amazon's fulfillment center or to Amazon warehouse and distribution. I recommend that for your first shipment, you send it directly to a fulfillment center. There are a couple reasons for this. The first is that because you're a new seller, you don't have any inventory limits. Amazon leaves the inventory limit open to you for the first 39 weeks, so you don't have to worry about excessive inventory at this step, especially if you've only ordered 500 to 1,000 units. This warehousing and distribution, like I said, is new, but there's another new feature here, and that is the different splits for the shipments that you're going to send in. So again, the reason why I had multiple smaller cartons made as opposed to, let's say, one big one was first because you can't have more than 150 units in a carton, and second, because Amazon now charges to split up your shipment if you send it in fewer shipments. So you see here, if I only shipped to 2 fulfillment centers, I would be charged $85. If I wanted to ship this entire shipment to 1 fulfillment center, I'd be charged $90. However, if I split this into shipments that go to 4 different fulfillment centers, I don't pay any additional fee. Next, you're going to make sure you've selected small parcel delivery because this is the option associated with sending a few small cartons. Again, you're not going to have a pallet to send in, so don't select less than or full truckload. Okay, again, like I mentioned, Amazon's partnered carrier is UPS, and you get a significant discount by using them. So that's another reason why I selected this for my first shipment ever. And so I've gone ahead, I've selected 4 shipments, right? I have more than 4 cartons, so that's going to be fine. And then we selected small parcel delivery and Amazon partnered carrier. Next, what happens is Amazon is going to tell you where each of these shipments is going. Okay, so you can see here they've split it up into 4 different fulfillment centers. There's one in North Carolina, one in Illinois, one in Pennsylvania, and one here in California. All right. And you'll notice that there's a certain number of boxes that are being sent to each. The next thing you're going to do is click accept charges and confirm shipping. Okay. So you can see here that now you have the labels ready to print. So these are each of the 4 shipments, and you have the labels to print here. So you're going to go ahead and print out each of these labels, and I want to show you what each label looks like so you don't get confused. Okay, so for each box in each of these shipments, Amazon is going to give you 2 different labels. So you can see here, there's one label. This is Amazon's label. This is for the fulfillment center. This label doesn't have anything to do with actually shipping the product into Amazon. This is how Amazon is going to identify the shipment once it gets there. And then in addition to that, you have the actual shipping label. Notice this is UPS's label. So this is what UPS will scan so that they're actually shipping it to the correct place. Again, both of these labels need to be on the same box. So once you have printed all your labels and attached them to each box, you're ready to take them over to the UPS store and drop them off. All right, so you've done it. You've got your first shipment sent to you. You put the Amazon labels on it and the UPS labels on it, and you drop it off at the UPS store. Boom, that's it. It's off to Amazon. That's how I did my very first shipment ever. I think it's a simple and easy way to do it so that you don't get overwhelmed with the complexity of international freight forwarding and supply side logistics. If you want to learn more about how I did all of this, or you want specific recommendations for your particular situation, you can check out my Skool community. The link is in the description, and I'll see you in the next video.